Hello and welcome to the second part of the course, Computer Application Packages. In the first part, we treated the overview of application packages, and we also treated the use of word processing packages. And for an example, we worked on Microsoft Word packages. For this second part, we would discuss on the use of electronic spreadsheets. We shall understand what an electronic spreadsheet is, and as a case study we'll go through Microsoft Excel. All right, so let's go straight into it. What are spreadsheet packages? Spreadsheets, let's first define a spreadsheet. A spreadsheet is a program or software that is made up of imaginary paper that contains information in rows and columns meant for numerical, statistical, and accounting calculations. So if you want to recognize a spreadsheet, number one, the software, just like the Microsoft Word, just like the word processing packages, sorry, it also has imaginary paper, but it has its information in rows and columns. It has information in rows and columns that is meant for numerical, statistical, and accounting calculation. So the most important part of a software of a spreadsheet package is the fact that it has rows and columns. Okay, so this is an example of a spreadsheet package. Let me open a new one. This is Microsoft Excel. So automatically you could see the rows, row A, row B, row C, the columns there, and the rows 1, 2, 3. So it basically divides spaces into rows and columns. So any application package that you see that has this property, divided into rows and columns, with the columns named in alphabets and the rows in numbers, is most likely a spreadsheet package. And we say they are used for numerical, statistical, and accounting calculations. Now you know what numerical calculation is. The simple calculations, 1 plus 1, 2 plus 2. Okay, you may say that's too simple, but then you have the large numbers, 5,450 plus 6,250. You know, statistical. So when you have statistical data from the result of experiments, if you want to get your t-test, your p-values, and other statistical tools, mean deviation, standard deviation, there are ways you can get them done using spreadsheets packages. And the most common one are accounting calculations. So spreadsheets are very useful to accountants to calculate the financial, to sort out the accounting department of their companies. So most things like amount of money paid as against the name of the payer, the spreadsheet, the balance sheet, and yeah, accountants to understand better. But it presents, because it already has a table format, it presents something very, very easy for you to differentiate something in to present a tabular representation of your financial data. All right, so needless to say, let me say that each, if you can see here, this particular column falls into, this particular space falls into column B and row 1. Column B and row 1. So this is a cell. This here is a cell. Each unit which divides, which falls into a particular row and a column is a cell. So this is a cell as well. This is a cell. This is a cell. This is a cell. All of these are cells. So the spaces you have in spreadsheets are called cells, and each of those cells have their names. So this is cell A1, indicating that it belongs to column A and row 1. This cell B10, this cell D15, this cell F20, this cell G24, this cell H10, this cell H15, this cell J20, okay, and so on and so forth, like that. Okay, so this is a good example of spreadsheet. This is the Microsoft Excel. We are going to be using this spreadsheet. Alright? But before we go on to use it, I want to show you other kind of spreadsheets that are available. Okay, so examples of spreadsheets are Microsoft Excel. This is the one I've shown you. There's Lotus 123, there's SuperCal, there's Google Sheets, there's Numbers, there's Quattro Pro, and there is WPS. I'll just add that here, WPS. Alright, so each one of these softwares are created by different companies, but the basic attributes of spreadsheets that I've described can be found in virtually all of them. They are going to have rows like the columns like this and rows like that, and therefore they're going to have cells, and you're able to use them for accounting calculations, you're able to use them for statistical calculations, you're able to use them to manipulate numbers, you're able to use them to visualize figures, and as many other things. So I'm going to show you, let's say I can pull off maybe two more examples of spreadsheets. So let's go to WPS. Let me see. Okay. So this is WPS. All right, there it is. And let me see. I'll go to new spreadsheet. Just hang on a minute. Okay, it seems it's taking too long to load. So while I wait for it, let me open. Oh yeah, it's done. Okay, yes, we can see that now. So this is not Microsoft Excel, but if you look at Microsoft Excel and WPS spreadsheet, they have a lot of things in common. They have columns A, B, C, D. They have rows 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They have the font section. You can see the bold, italic, underline. They have home section, inserts, page layout, formulas, data, review, view, and this got some special features. But if you look into this pane here under the home section, you realize that most of what you can see here, you would also see it here. So if we go to the insert section for WPS, right, and we go to the insert section for Microsoft Excel, okay, and we compare both, you could see pivot table. Okay, this one is added pivot charts. Okay, then you have your normal table, you have illustrations, this one calls it shapes here. Then you have pictures, you have charts here, yeah, your lines, word arts. This one is also got header and footer, right? So most of those features are virtually the same. So when you are talking of a spreadsheet package, there are some features that are expected to be the same for it to be called a spreadsheet package. Okay, I'm going to try and see if I can open a third one. Otherwise, we would just go ahead into what we want to do. I want to open Google Sheets. Okay, so pardon me while before it loads. Yeah, I don't know why it's taking so long to load in that manner. Let me see if I can close some unnecessary stuff. Okay, if you happen to watch this, when you happen to be watching, you could just use your fast forward to go a little spaces forward, um, and not waste your time on this loading section. All right, so Google Sheets is about loading. Blah 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 blah. Okay, so I'm going to open a new spreadsheet. All right, you can see that. So this is Google Sheets, new spreadsheet. I think it's still loading. I'm not sure if it's done loading. I think it's still loading. As I said, you could skip all these parts. Let me see. It's still loading. Yeah, okay. Uh, yeah, it's still loading. So, oh, it's ready now. Oh, yeah, it's ready. Okay. So you can see some basics are the same. It's got columns A, B, C, D, rows 1, 2, 3 going down. Your file. Oh, that's that. Okay. So it's got the same things, but it's probably done the arrangement in a different way this time around. Which basically, when you get any application, you should spend time, playing around with the application to see what you need is stored. Whatever you need, it's going to be there somewhere. You need to take that time to play around with the software to know where what is. So we don't have time for that. But you can see the basics here. You can see they are the same. You can see you would also find somewhere for charts. You're going to find it around there, I'm very sure. So I'm not going to waste time because we've spent so much time trying to load the application already. I'm just going to quit. And now let's go to some basic features of the spreadsheet using Microsoft Excel as an example. Now, we said it can be used for statistical, accounting, and numerical calculations. This is an example of an accounting calculation where we've done current payment profile of some NC students. Alright, and we are going to be trying to replicate the same thing here. Hopefully, in the process of doing that, we are going to cover the features of the spreadsheet. Now, if you've listened to the first lecture, which deal with word processing packages, there are a lot of things we've covered, and so I wouldn't like to repeat that. I would advise that you go into go listen to the first one if you haven't, and then you find that some of those things are the same, so there's no real reason to speak on that again. For example, save is Control S on Windows and Command S on Microsoft Word. sorry, Control S on Windows, Command S on Macintosh, sorry. The same thing copy is Control C or Command C, depending. Okay, so we don't need to go into that again. The same thing, paste remains the same. Where's paste? Yeah, paste remains the same. Underline, bold, italicize, uh, choosing the font, highlighting, those things remain the same. Alignments, okay, even though there's a difference in alignment, a slight difference in alignment, we'll deal with it, but most of those things are the same. So we're not going to waste so much time on what we've done before. We'll rather go into what is distinct with spreadsheet packages. Now, as I said, spreadsheet package allows you to present accounting information, or let's say to deal with data in summary, to deal with data, to organize data, to make meaning of data, to process data into information, accounting data, scientific data, numerical data, etc., etc., etc. Now, let's jump right straight into it. I'll be trying to replicate this, and in the process, I hope that I'm able to go through a lot of things. Okay, so if you look at column A here, you can see it's very tiny compared to column B. And that will bring me to the first thing we are going to do here. That is to actually reduce the sizes of our columns. Now, if you want to reduce the size of our columns, there are two ways to do that. Okay, the first way is to just drag your mouse, take your mouse to the border of the column you want to adjust. Left click, click it down, and then shift. Okay, if I want to increase it, I'll just shift it this way. If I want to reduce it, I'm going to shrink it. Alright, and the size of that column is reduced. The other way you could do that is to highlight the column, come to format, and go to column width. Alright, the difference between this one and that one is that this one allows you to actually set a value for the column width. So this is very good for those of you that want to use Microsoft Excel for designing, to design pages, and you want an exact design. Okay, so I'm going to set my column width to 5. Okay, can you see? It's automatically reduced it, but the measurement of this is 5. So this one I've done here doesn't use a particular measurement. I just use my eyes, but here it goes with a measurement. So that is the way to do that. Okay, you can see that most of the rest are the same. The length of the rest are the same. Okay, you can see here that page row 2 and row 3 seems to be merged into one row from column B down to column K. So from column B down to column K. So how do we do that? We are going to highlight like I've done. I'll remind you how to highlight. You go to your start row, your start cell. This is my start cell, B2. Click down and drag. So I want to go from B2 to K3. So I'm going to B2, drag down to B3, and now drag right to K3. When I get there, I'm going to come to this here. It's called Merge and Center. I'm going to click. So once I click it after highlighting, you can see it has turned everything into just one cell, one giant cell. Then if I want to write what is written here, current payment profile of NCE student, what I need to do is to click on the cell and type current payment profile of NCE students. All right, is that clear? All right, so but you can see there's a difference. First and foremost, what is written here is bigger, and then is in blue color. So that is in your font section. I'm not going to go too much into it. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to check the font that we are operating with here. So if you put your cursor on the cell, it's going to give you the exact font that that cell is using. All right, so you can see it has changed. It has changed. Sorry, the font size and the font is different. If I bring it down here, the font size has changed. So it's gonna, if you highlight on a cell, you're gonna get the font size of that cell and the font and the properties, whether it is bold, italicized, or that. So you can see this is Calibri body 28 and bold. So if you come here, you're going to have Calibri body. I want to change this to 28, right? Make it bold. Okay, but something else is missing. This looks bluish. So I'm going to come here and come to my font color, and let's choose something like that. Alright, so it's not exactly the same, but we can't waste time. So all you need to do to make it the same is to look for the particular shade of blue we've used there. But let's leave it like this for now. Okay, what else did we do here? You could see here that row 4 has a very large size compared to other rows. So how do we do that here? It's the same thing. You come to row 4, the lower border, because you want to increase. Okay, how do you know you're on the lower border? You can see as soon as my mouse gets to the boundary of row 4 and 5, it changes. You can see it's changed. Alright, you can see what it changed to this cross-like figure. Then you drag it down. You drag it down. Very good. And then you can proceed. The levies. Okay, I'm going to use different names here. Let me see. James, David. Okay, I think I've skipped something here. How did I move from James to David? So after I typed in James, what did I do? I pressed tab. Tab naturally takes me to the next cell on the right. So if I want to go downwards, I can just use my 4 arrow keys. I can also use the arrow keys to go right. I can use it to go left. I can use it to go downwards, and I can use it to go back upwards. But if I press the tab takes me to the next cell on the right. If I press enter, it takes me to the next row. Alright? Okay, so that's just that. So tab to David, tab to the next key. Okay, let's use some of these names as well. Malik, James, David, Dyer, 1, 2, 3, Malik 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, let's use that name. Okay. Alright, so all I've just done now is to type what I have here. Now, you can follow the same procedure. Alright, you can follow the same procedure in filling all of this. All you need is you need to have your documents. Of course, you need to fill in the right documents, right? Or the right figures, right? Which is absolutely your job to do. And you need to fill in the right figures under the right rules. So this is the hostel fees that uh, this particular person is supposed to pay. That's 10,000. This is the hostel fees that this other person is supposed to pay. You know, so all I'm trying to say is that it's left to you to fill in what you need to fill in, where you need to fill them in. All right. So I'm just gonna do a copy and paste. How do I copy and paste again? As you must have learned, you just go to the first cell, drag it to highlight all the cells you want to copy. Once you've done your highlight, you can press your Ctrl C or Command C, depending on what system you are using. Come here to the first cell and press paste. Now it has done exactly the same thing, because the exact number of cells I have here is the exact number of cells I have here. So make sure when you are doing your copy and paste on Excel, that is the exact number of cells you have on the left that you have on the right. All right. The exact number of columns, sorry, and the exact number of rows, so that you don't fall into a mistake and begin to wonder where you got something wrong or the other. All right. So you could see here Dr. Bode's fee here. Here it enters. It's on one. It doesn't consume double space like this one here. All right. Which has increased the size of this row. So I want the size of this row to be normal with the others. What I'll do is alright, so that has not changed. Okay, but we all have it now in one line, so I can just adjust again. Alright, so I have something similar to other rows. Okay, now let's go to where it gets interesting. You could use Excel to do calculations. We talked about that already, and this is how you do them. This is what is interesting about Excel, why you want to use it. Okay, so I've written all the levies that are supposed to be paid by my students, and I've written how much they've actually paid. All right, so the total due, okay, so I've jumped something there. It's fine, but I don't want to jump that step, so I want to actually treat it. All right. What makes Excel interesting and such a useful tool is the calculations it's able to do for you. So you can command the Excel or the spreadsheets to do calculations on your behalf, and it will do them. Okay, let me copy the last item here, percentage paid. Now everything here is the amount due for each person. So the total due should be the addition of each and every fee put here for each person. So how do you do that? You can actually write down some formulas. Okay, so I come here and I double click. When I want to calculate the sum of all this, I can just go is equals to sum. All right, you can see if you want to write down a formula in Excel, in Microsoft Excel, you start with you start with an is equals to sign. Once you write an is equals to sign and you give your space, the software understands you want to write a formula. So that is equals to sum. Now you can see a lot of functions here. So there are a lot of functions depending on what you want to do. So, but we are going to keep it simple as a basic introduction. We're only going to work with the basics. Sum, okay, open bracket, and then you now highlight, you highlight everything from C5 to C10, and you close brackets. So what you've done is your sum is equal to sum. You have told the computer to calculate from cell C5 to cell C10. Once you hit the enter key, it does the calculation for you. 52,500 naira. Now, another interesting thing is that instead of coming here and beginning to write the same sum, whatever, you can instead copy. So what you've done here, you've written down a function. You've not written down a number. What you've done here is a function. This is the function, but it is going to show you a number which is the result of the function. So if you come here and press Ctrl C to copy, you're actually copying the function and not the number. And then you can actually highlight everywhere you want the function to be replicated. When you highlight it, you do Ctrl V and it would paste. And you can see the function is replicated. Now, look at something interesting. So this is where my function is, C5 to C10. When I move to the next column under the row, look at what it's done, D5 to D10. So it's done calculation for this row. So it means that if I change my values here, my total has changed. But for only David, it hasn't changed for James. So it's done, it repeated the function for each row, for each column. So you can see here is E5 to E10. What is constant is the 5 and the 10. So it knows it's going to be picking from row 5 to row 10 of the same column. And it does the same thing, F5 to F10, down. So make sure when you are copying that you understand that it's going to do the same thing. You know, in this case, you are copying and you are pasting into the same row, right? And that's because your function is a function that calculates across column. So if I have a function, let me do a function here. Alright, that calculates across the row. That will be is equals to sum. Highlight the row. Alright. It calculates across the row. Right? You can see the row is the same, the column is different. So when I now want to copy the function, I have to paste across the same column because it is calculating across the same row. Alright? So note that rule. Once your sum function is calculating across the same row, you can copy and paste across the same column. Once your function is calculating along the same column, you can copy and paste. You can only copy and paste along the same row, which is what we have done here. Okay. Now it's done something nice for me. It's giving me the total amount of money everybody has paid already, and we are left with the total amount of money that is left to pay. Oh, sorry. It's done the total that is due to everybody, sorry. And I've already imputed how much everyone has paid. So what we are left with is how much everyone is left to pay. I can do my little calculation here. Total left to pay is the total due minus total paid. And that will be is equals to This is my total due. I can just click on it. You can see it's written the cell already after I clicked on it. Then I'll put my space and write minus total paid. You can see that 32,500. You can see 52,500 minus 20,000 is actually 32,500. And I can do the same thing, copy and paste. And it's going to calculate for each column the total that is left to be paid. Alright, and then I can do the same thing for percentage paid. What is percentage paid? That's the total paid over the total due times 100 over 1. I can do any kind of calculation on the spreadsheet. I only need to make sure I use is equals to sign. Alright, once I write my is equals to sign, the spreadsheet understands that it is a calculation. Okay, then I can, okay, so for percentage, what is it? Total due, right? Total paid. Okay, I'll first of all use my brackets. I'll use my brackets so that it can calculate total due, total paid divided by total due as a unit. Alright, so total paid, oh sorry, okay, let me do that again, is equals to, open brackets, total paid. Can you see? I don't need to write total paid. I actually need to go and click on the column that represents total paid. That's C12. I write my divided by, which is my slash, total due, click on it, close the bracket, space, times is shift 8, times 100, and enter. And it gives me the percentage paid. I think there should be a way I could, okay, alright, so that's that. So I can do the same thing, copy and paste, and it does exactly the same thing for each person. Alright, so I've chosen this structure. There are different structures that you can choose. That's the benefit of Excel. You can choose, I've chosen the structure of levies against school fees, in this format. You could do something else in accounting. Accounting has a big debit versus credit section. Okay, let me do something quickly. Merge and center. Sorry. Debit. Naira. Okay. Credit. Naira. Okay, and then it's just going to take my time. I just need to match each and every just continue my margin across the row like this. Merge those two rows under credits, merge those two rows under debit for each row that I'll be making use of. You can see, and then I can put my expenses 134.68, fees payments 5,000, and I can have my giant lines, accountants know what I'm talking about. I could keep filling things down to the right there and down there. So what I'm trying to say is that you can construct your table in different ways. The essential thing is that it allows you to do calculations. Okay, so this table is done now, but it's not looking nice. I need to make it look nicer and more presentable, something close to this. What can I do? Okay, first and foremost, I need to align my figure so that my writing, so that everything is at the center of the text. So I'm going to highlight everything, come to alignment, go to center, center text, and at the center of the row as well. Center of the row, center of the column. Alright, that's done. I would like to make this ones bolder and bigger. I won't go into it so much since we've dealt with that. Oh, that's too big. Let's use 20. Okay, I would like to use more colors here. So I'll use the color blue. 18. Okay, by increasing the font size, you can see it has cut out a lot of unnecessary numbers. I want it to cut it out to only 2. Okay, so let's see if 19 will be more appropriate here. Oh, 19 doesn't change anything, so let me. Okay, oh, that's too much. Okay, let's leave it at just however is able to do it. Okay, it's done 2 here. Alright, fine. Okay, so I want to give it some more bold borders. I want to separate the headings and the last column using borders. So come here and I come to my borders and I go tick box border, and it gives them tick borders. Now I want each and every one of them to have tick borders. I will just go to each and every one of them and click my tick borders, and it gives me tick borders for each and every one of them. All right. Here I want all my borders having a mark, so I go to all borders. These are things you could just play with, right? Just play with it. Play with it. Play with the borders and you can come out with fantastic designs. You are not going to know how to use this application until you get on a spreadsheet and just begin to play with things. Highlight different sections, select the borders you want. You could come out with fantastic designs that we have not even treated before. All right. Okay, so we've done a lot already. The last thing I want to do is to show you an example of a chart. So if yeah, I'll just show you an example of a chart. Now let me say that most of these things are the same with where we are coming from. You could actually give margins, you could give themes, you could give colors, you could give print areas, you could give page breaks. You could print this out as a page, right? And that's where page breaks come into play. So we are not going to waste time on most of all these things. So just teaching you the basics. Okay, you could come to formulas. Those of you that do a lot of things in accounting and statistics, scientists, I would recommend you come around and play with all of this. Now, I suggest you go into Google, or you can get a textbook on spreadsheets to teach you in depth what all these functions are about. You could see sum, you could see average, count numbers. They all have the functions they are fulfilling. But I'm not going to waste time. All right. I want to draw a chart, a pie chart. Okay, so what I've just done here is to pick the name of everybody. All right, and pick a particular payment they all made. I'm not sure which one I picked here. Okay, I think it's against the total amount of money they have paid. All right. Yes, against total amount of money paid. So let me put that there. Total Oh, okay. Let me just take everything, copy, and paste. Right, so some things are going to be a bit different because of the name sizes. Right. Okay. Total payments made. Okay. So I want a chart. I need to present a chart. I'm a scientist. I need to present a chart. So all I need to do is to, I think it should be, um, that should be insert, I guess. Yes, should be insert. Okay, and then you have your charts. All right. So all you need to do is to highlight the document. So if you look at what I've highlighted column names against the row name. It's very important. Column names against the row name. And I can come to my recommended charts. Uh, okay, let's say I want to do histogram. Okay, can you see that? It's done a fine histogram, and it has made my row name the title of the chart. That is why it is good for you to highlight everything. All right. You can choose different charts, play around it. I'm going to highlight again. I want a pie chart this time around. Mama. Let me see. Oh, this is a pie chart. Yeah, this is a pie chart kind of. All right, let's go with this. There, let's go with the 3D pie chart. All right. So all you need to know, you could see I didn't have to stress myself on how to actually create a pie chart. The computer is done it for me, and any other diagram I want, I could get. All right. So okay, I'm trying to see if I could adjust. I'm not sure. Okay, is okay. Let's see if I can adjust this one. Sorry. Basically, playing around with this, you're going to get the solutions that you need. Oh, okay. Yeah. It's proving tricky. Exactly. Let me see. Am I able to lift it? Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. So I could do as many charts as I want. Let me see if there's something else I can do again. I'm just trying to show you that you can, and this is exactly useful for the data analyst, the scientist, or the accountant that needs to present something to his company. Okay, you can just highlight the area you want and come to your inserts and look for. I think this will be better on the line graph. So let's use a line graph here. All right, you can see this, but this is not a very good representation because they all pay the same amount. They are all expected to pay the same amount of money. So I'm gonna cancel that. Let me do something. Total payments made. Uh, Total left to pay. Let me see. Total left to pay. Okay, so sorry. Yeah. Uh, okay. Okay. I'm just going to vary this a bit. Call that 5. Let's call this 3, 9. So 2, 7. Let's call this 2, 9. All right. So I want to create a line graph, and this is going to be my final discourse before we end this particular section. That's use of spreadsheet. Okay, go to my insert, my recommended charts, and just click the chart you want after you've highlighted the document necessary, and it produces the chart. Now look at this. So on this axis, this is amount in naira. Alright, so it's put the name. This is my column names, right? And this represents total payments made, and this represents sorry. Okay, I'm going to cancel that again. Sorry. Okay, they can't have the same title. Hold total payments owed against total payments made. Okay. Alright, and just do that one more time. Sorry for the mistakes. And my line charts. So you see, is done that for you. Okay, I'll just leave it like this. Something's gone wrong there, but I've not got time to sort that out. But you could see that it's done a total payment hold against total payments made automatically by itself. Right? So why it's done what it's done, I don't know. I don't know what chart I've clicked. I think I clicked the wrong chart. Okay. In this case, it's not giving me a title because there are two values on the x-axis, on the row axis. So you can just come and click chart title and give it a name. Okay. Whatever. Save it as whatever. Alright. So if you want to master this course, basic course I've taught you, every single step that I've taken, note it. You should be able to describe every step that I've taken. Okay, I wanted to make something bold. What did I do? I went to the cell, clicked the cell, then I went to the bold under font and I clicked bold. So you should be able to give a description of everything that I needed to do or when I was going to do them, when I did them. Alright? That's how to master this. So then in the practical sense, you need to get on your spreadsheet, look for a particular data like this, and put it together to make an information like I've done with this table. And then play with your Excel, play with the calculations, play with formulas, play with everything. You know, there are a lot of functions here. This is to sort data. Some data you need to sort, some data you need to filter. Basically, if you want to understand the spreadsheet very well, you should have a textbook to guide you, either on the internet or a hard copy textbook, or you should be on the internet. You should have Google. So if you need to do something, you need to just go to Google and type it out in Google. And Google is going to provide you with a lot of answers. So to close this video, I'm going to save this work that I've just done. How do we save? Control S. Control S. I've clicked Control S. I expect it to open the pane for me to save. I'm sorry it's slowing down. Oh, maybe it didn't work. Control S. Alright. Then go to where you want to save it. Alright, I already know where I want to save. Um, yeah, second semester and practicals, and I'm going to call it Microsoft Excel practical part, or we're done. Okay, save. So thank you very much for tuning into this course. Play around with it on your computer. Note and observe every step I took to do everything, and master it and play around with it, and you are good to go. Thank you once again for listening. See you at the next course, the next video, which is going to deal with presentation packages. Thank you very much. Bye.